Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I wanted to focus on some truly amazing memoirs that I have read the past 2 years. As someone who is primarily a fiction reading, romance consuming gremlin, I was a bit hesitant to even pick up memoirs because I thought I would be bored of reading someone else's life and facts, and nonfiction was scary to me, but boy, was I wrong. Here are some memoirs I think that would be great to add to your starter pack, especially if you're wanting to dip your toes into some memoirs and or the nonfiction genre. Shameless plug, but if you like this video, please like and subscribe. Wink, wink. The first book I have today is Born a Crime by Trevor Noah. The full title is Born a Crime: Stories from a South African Childhood. This is not the first memoir I have ever read, but it is the first memoir that I picked up after a really long reading slump. This is a book that Sammy recommended to me while I was kind of looking over the books that he brought over. This book was a game changer. Going into it, I didn't know much about Trevor Noah. I knew he was a famous comedian and that he was on The Daily Show, and I've seen skits of him on YouTube, but other than that, I didn't know much about his background or how he grew up, so I truly went into this blind and I loved every part of it. Basically, the book details his experiences growing up in Johannesburg, South Africa during the apartheid era. His parents were a white Swiss-German father and Black Xhosa mother. Their relationship when Noah was born in 1984 was actually illegal under the Immortality Act. So according to Noah, he says, for him to be born as a mixed race baby was to be born a crime, which I love that line in the book. Not only is this book hilarious, like Trevor Noah is hilarious on screen and in writing, but it is also really moving. You get a glimpse into his childhood growing up in South Africa during the apartheid, and just learning about the apartheid was an eye-opening experience for me. So this book was truly a beautiful blend of humor, history, and personal reflections. So I really recommend this memoir if you're new to memoirs and looking for something funny, engaging, and slightly compelling / moving. This is definitely a good one to start with. Moving on to book number 2, Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. This book also came courtesy of my boyfriend Sammy. It is another one of his books that I believe he read while he was in the Air Force. I didn't know of David Goggins until I started dating Sammy. I've seen a few motivational clips, interview clips that he's done with Joe Rogan, and since he's like an ultra marathon runner, I believe he came up in conversation between Sammy and my sister Jennifer, who also loves running. So I've heard of him, and then finally decided to pick up his kind of memoir / self-help book. David Goggins is a retired Navy SEAL, and he's completed in more than 60 ultramarathons, triathlons, and ultra triathlons. And he's also a public speaker. But before all of that, he was a man whose life was in shambles. He went through a tough childhood. He had an abusive father. And then in adulthood, he was just very unmotivated and depressed and overweight. This book is basically Goggins' transformation from a man who was lost with kind of no purpose in his life to doing a 360 and learning self-discipline, mental toughness, and the joys of hard work. It was truly amazing. There were definitely some parts of the book where I was like, this man's crazy, but it's inspiring. It's really inspiring to see everything that he's pushed himself through in his life. There's one part in the book where he tried to break the record of like the most pull-ups, and he had a picture of how demolished his hands were, and he didn't even get the record. He tried it again after his hands became that gross, and I'll remember that picture in the book forever. But yeah, you can't help but cheer him on throughout his whole book. It definitely has a kind of get off of your butt and do something about it attitude, which I don't know will resonate with everyone who reads it. The writing style is also not the best. Not really a book if you're looking for beautiful prose, but definitely an inspiring and entertaining and engaging story. If you're looking for a book that's part self-help, part inspirational memoir, definitely pick up this book. There's a reason why it's like a bestseller and on all the Barnes and Noble tables for self-help. It's so popular. You might not agree with his like methods or his just mindset, but I think you will come out of it feeling pretty motivated and inspired. The third book / memoir that I really loved was On Writing, a Memoir of the Craft by Stephen King. I found this book completely on a whim. I was going through a list of Stephen King books to see if he wrote anything outside the horror / thriller genre because I wanted to experience Stephen King's writing without being terrified to sleep at night. Stephen King's just such an iconic author. He's really changed the just horror genre with his stories. I feel like me not watching horror movies, I still know of like It and Carrie. He's an icon, and I really wanted to see what his writing was about. On Memoir Writing of the Craft is really a fantastic combination of a memoir and writing advice. Stephen King shares his experience just growing up, also his battle with addiction, which I had no idea about, and also his near-death accident that happened to him like pretty recently actually. He also just incorporates insightful writing tips like how to implement proper character development, plotting, and just overcoming writer's block. And although I'm not an aspiring writer, I did really enjoy just the tidbits and advice related to writing. So whether you're a fan of Stephen King's works or don't know anything about Stephen King, I'd recommend this memoir. It was definitely a hidden gem for me. I really enjoyed it. Not only a really fun read, but also really emotional / touching, and I learned a lot. I just really loved this book. The last memoir I have in this starter pack is actually one that my friend recommended me for this month. It is In the Dreamhouse by Carmen Maria Machado. I was a little hesitant to put this in the starter pack because it is pretty heavy hitting. It is one of the more harder to read memoirs, but I still wanted to include it because the writing is phenomenal and the style in which she writes and explores themes of abuse is almost surreal and dreamlike. You just can't help but feel captivated while reading it. Okay, I was editing this part and I felt like I was romanticizing the idea of abuse, and I just wanted to clarify that's not the case at all. The point I was trying to make is that I thought Carmen Maria Machado's writing was beautiful, but her experience was truly horrifying. And by dreamlike, maybe I meant more like nightmare-like, that I felt trapped in her experience, but couldn't stop reading because the way she was writing was so addictive. But yeah, I just wanted to clarify that. That's essentially why I wanted to include it in the starter pack, because it's just such a unique memoir that I've read, given I haven't read many memoirs, but I feel like it's one that I will remember for a long, long time. I haven't even finished the memoir, but I also still wanted to recommend it because I have been really enjoying it so far. My favorite chapters are Dreamhouse as an Accident and Dreamhouse as Choose Your Own Adventure. They really struck a chord in me in a way that you see what's coming, but you understand it. I don't know. You have to read it. You have to read this book to find out. The book has definitely changed my perspective on certain topics, especially through a different lens. It's just been really incredible and thought-provoking, so that's kind of why I wanted to recommend it, even though I haven't finished it yet. Those are my memoir recommendations for you today. I definitely think you should check out one, if not all of these memoirs, whether you're looking just for a laugh, a good time, self-help, or even exploration of the complexities of relationships. These were all very memorable, memorable memoirs that I think you should pick up. If you've read any of these books and have recommendations for me, please feel free to recommend me some new memoirs that I should read in the comments below. But other than that, thank you for joining me today and see you on the next video. Bye.